Hi, this is Dr. Simeon Roger, and I'm here today to talk about cultivating the lower Dantian. So as most of you already know, cultivating the lower Dantian is really the foundation of the Taoist longevity and health tradition. But the whole question is, how do you go about it? It seems like such a mystery to a lot of people, and with good reason. Now, why would you bother doing it? Well, of course, there are a whole bunch of benefits. We won't get into them too extensively now, but of course, as Westerners, it has a great benefit. It pulls us out of our heads doing this type of cultivation. And why? Because whenever you focus on a part of your body or a process within the body, it tends to shut down the rational mind. It creates calm, it allows energy to drop, and that's part of the whole reason for cultivating the lower Dantian, is to help energy to sink. Because we hold so much energy in our heads, so much energy in our upper chests from the tension of the day, from being stuck in our rational minds all the time, that we want to be able to sink that energy down to where it's supposed to be, right? So this is a very natural process. And when there is enough energy in the lower Dantian, it tends to push through and clear out the 12 acupuncture meridians. Now this has great benefits for you because as it pushes through those meridians and smooths out the blockages, you get better organ health and you get better emotional balance. And speaking of emotional balance, what could be better? Because that is, emotional imbalance is probably the biggest energy waste that most people experience. And of course, when you have a lot of energy available in the lower Dantian, it's available for whatever you wish. It's available for more mental work, physical work, inner healing, or whatever. So all around, this is definitely where you want to start. This is really all about setting a firm foundation for any spiritual practice. Or not simply a spiritual practice. If you want a firm foundation for your health, this is where you better start. So the question is, how do you do it? Well, the most fundamental way is simply to begin when you're meditating. So when you sit down to meditate, and let's say you're doing a very simple type of meditation where you're simply watching your breathing, going in and out, put a certain percentage of your attention on your lower Dantian, maybe half of your attention. Okay, keep your attention there and don't try to force anything. You're not trying to shove energy into it and cram it into it. Just allow the process to do what it does naturally. And of course, over time, this develops tremendous power in the lower Dantian, tremendous available energy. This is what you're going to harvest from it, and this is what you can use in your life. Now, the real skill, though, is, well, how do you do this throughout the day? Because it's one thing to do it meditating, but it's another to do it during the day and not to lose what you've gained in meditation. So can you cultivate the lower Dantian during your busy day? Well, in fact, you can very easily. I'll give you an example. Let's say, and I put this one to the test very recently, let's say you're going to coffee with friends. And as you're out there, you've decided ahead of time, I'm going to cultivate the lower Dantian. And I'm not going to lose my focus while I'm with these people and while we're having this conversation. Sounds like a tall order, doesn't it? But actually, it can work quite well, because what you're going to find is that even when you're the person talking, if you've made this decision ahead of time, you'll be able to keep a certain percentage of your attention, say 20%, 25%, on your lower Dantian. In other words, you'll always be aware of it, even as you're talking. Now, you cannot realistically talk and keep track of your breath. That really doesn't work, right? However, what you're going to find is when other people are doing the talking, you can certainly keep track of your breath. And as you breathe, you're going to notice things. The more you focus on your breath, whether you're doing it during the day, in the middle of a gathering, or even if it's just in meditation at home or wherever, you're going to notice that you begin to feel physical sensations. And you're going to feel the sensation eventually of your whole body breathing, or what we've referred to as skin breathing. You'll begin to feel various types of physical sensations, and this will help anchor the focus on the breathing pattern, which is extremely helpful. So what you're going to find is you will actually be able to go through something like a social event, coffee with friends, and still at that time actually cultivate the lower Dantian or anything else you wish to for your health or your spiritual life. It works fantastically well. You simply have to make the decision and practice. Now, there are other ways, of course. One way is to make a decision at the beginning of your day. Every conscious breath I take, brings more energy into the lower Dantian. Simply make that decision at the beginning of your day. And then what you're going to find is as you go through the day, let's say you're momentarily distracted, you come back to focusing on your breath, you're going to notice immediately the energy in the lower Dantian. You're going to really feel it accumulating there. And again, it takes time and practice, but this is what happens. Another method, also very important, is from time to time, consider engaging the intelligence of the lower Dantian. So the lower Dantian is the seat of the mind of awareness, one of the 3 centers of consciousness in the human body. And we'll talk about all those 3 centers of consciousness maybe in another video, but for now, simply consider this. The mind of awareness is where you have your gut feelings, right? So the mind of awareness is intuitively aware. It doesn't have to think about things to know what's true and what's false. It immediately knows. That's why, what do we say? Follow your gut. And every time you don't follow your gut, what happens? Yeah, things go south because you followed your emotional mind or your rational mind, which led you astray. This mind will not lead you astray. So anytime you can focus on that, you're in fact bringing more energy into the lower Dantian. And focusing on the mind of awareness this was for the samurai, for instance, of feudal Japan, this was life and death. Because without that, they would never survive combat. And even today, modern high-performance athletes are very well aware of this. They know they have to get out of the rational mind in order to function, in order to perform at their best. And if they don't, if they get back into that rational mind during their athletic performance, they're gone. So this is very well known. You simply have to practice it, right? And finally, of course, there is going through your day, consciously integrating your breathing, your movement, and your mental attention. Breath, movement, mental attention, or even 2 out of those 3 at any given time. This will bring tremendous gains because all of it brings more energy into the lower Dantian. And when you're doing that, of course, when you think about movement and integrating breath and movement, you may think of having the movement originate from the lower Dantian so that the lower Dantian physically originates the movements. Well, that's okay, but you don't have to focus on that all the time, right? So what you need to know is there are all these different ways of going about it. And if you're, just pick one and do it. When it stops working, shift to something else. It's really that simple. And over time, the gains are incredible. So that's it for now. I'm Dr. Simeon Roger. Hopefully that has given you some things to work on for the coming week. And we'll see you next time.